Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Cam coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. Hope you guys are doing well out there. And today I want to talk to you about work-life balance. Um, you know, when it comes to this work-life balance thing, uh, there's two things going on, and it depends on what camp you're in. Okay, if you're in the camp of like you're not disciplined enough to get anything going with your business, you're probably out of balance with the work life balance. You probably are spending too much time on fun stuff, or if you're the kind of person who has a job out there and you're trying to start a business in your free time outside of your job, but you're finding it's not going anywhere and nothing's happening with it, it's a series of failures. Um, I would say there's a very good chance you are not taking it seriously enough. That's what I would say. You have to treat that online business that you're trying to start. You have to treat it like another job. That's basically as serious as you take your job. Like that's how you have to treat this online business that you're trying to start. Like if you're the kind of person like you never call in sick for work or whatever, and you always show up on time and you always put in a good solid day's work, and stuff like that. But then in your free time, you're trying to like grow some kind of online business and you can't get it to do anything. Um, you really got to evaluate like how are you handling it? Are you actually in fact putting the work in with that business? Are you taking care of it the same way you take care of your normal job? A lot of cases, people aren't. They're not taking it seriously enough. So that's work life balance on one end of it. That's one end of the spectrum. But that's never been really my problem. Well, I take it back. That was my problem when I had a job when I worked for other people. I didn't take it seriously enough. Like I would dabble around with online businesses and stuff like that. But when I was working for someone else, I was just too comfortable. I was too comfortable, even though I didn't really like my job that much. I was just too comfortable, man. I was making decent money, and I was just too comfortable, man. I didn't have the hunger. I didn't have the fire for it. I didn't have the passion. The amount of dedication really required. But that's not really what I'm talking about today. When I talk about work life balance, I'm talking about people who do this for a living, and online business. You run an online business for a job. That's what you do. And I'm talking about not spending enough time on other things in your life besides work. Um, because what I found when it comes to online business and running an online business is there's no clock out. there's no like there's no clocking out. It's not like a normal job where you punch in and punch out at the end of the day. You come in, you put in a solid 8 hours or a solid 12 hours or whatever it is, and then at the end of the day you clock out and go home and you have a good fun time at home until you have to be back at work. It's not like that. Your income, it feels like it's very, very closely related to how much work you put in. Even though that's a little bit of an illusion, because your income is not just solely based on how hard you work when you work for yourself. It's also based on how strategic you are and how clever you are with the kind of work that you're doing. You have to be moving in a certain direction to expound and amplify your income. You have to be moving in a certain direction. You have to be moving in certain ways, and if you're not doing that, it's hard to grow. Now, none of that really has to do with how hard you work. Now, of course, working harder can help you, but you have to be doing it in the right ways. Um, Now, when it comes to work life balance, I would just say that, when you work for yourself, it doesn't feel like there's a clock out period. There's no period where you just punch out and go home. And then if you combine that with the fact that like you're not where you want to be in business, like, you know, that would equal you like always working. Like you're always trying, because there's always something else to work on. When you run an online business, there's always something else to do. There's never not something to do. I've been doing this for over 10 years and there's never not been something to do. There's always something to do. whether it's create a new piece of free content, or whether it's create a new piece of paid content, or whether it's write another email, or whether it's, whether it's start another project, whether it's start another side business, get my hands into something else, because I am like notorious for getting my hands into too many fires. There's always something else, and you think that, like, well, that's because, and originally you might tell yourself, well, that's because, like, I'm not where I want to be. As soon as I am where I want to be, then it won't be like this. But after 10 years of doing this, what I can tell you is, like, it's never going to be enough. Like, if you are a real entrepreneur, you have ambition built in, and you're probably never going to be satisfied. You're always going to want more. No matter how much success you've had, you're always going to be looking to the next thing. So what I would say is the work-life balance becomes important, because your successful business is not the only thing in your life, right? Especially like if you have a family, or if you have other things in your life that you're interested in. You got to remember, man, you only get so much life. You only get one life to live. I'm sitting here 47 years old. I'm looking at you guys right now. I'm 47 years old. I can see the gray in my beard. I can see I'm getting older. When I first started this journey online, it's funny, like, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can see towards the beginning of my online, business career. You can see the beginnings of it, back when I was doing all those Amazon videos. I didn't have gray in my beard back then. I was skinnier, I was younger, and, and it's just like, life is going to keep on happening. You know what I mean? Life is going to keep on happening. It's going to keep on marching on. And, there's other things in your life that are equally as important as your business. I think that sometimes we enter periods where we really obsess over things to make them successful. I know I've done that. With my business, I've obsessed over things, where this was like the only thing I was focused on. And that, like, extreme focus, it can be very powerful, But the problem is with that extreme focus, and I'm not telling you not to have extreme focus sometimes. Sometimes I think you have to. Sometimes I think if you want something to succeed, you have to really just focus on it. And just like solely focus on that one thing for a little while, temporarily. But you got to remember something. You can't get lost in that focus. Like, you have to remember there's other things in your life that matter. Your wife, your girlfriend, your kids, a hobby, for example. Do you have any hobbies? What about just simple hobbies like watching movies, or, whatever, writing a fiction novel, whatever it might be? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do besides just like be in this all-consuming fire of online business? Because that's what it is. That's what it can be. It can be an all-consuming fire, where it's just like, this is all you focus on. You're so focused on trying to make it so successful that you don't leave a lot of room for anything else or anyone else. And that can be tough, man, because sometimes what'll happen is the very people you were trying to build this, online empire for, all of a sudden they don't know you anymore because you haven't spent enough time with them. You don't know them well enough. You've dedicated all your time being centrally focused to this one thing, and you neglected all these other relationships in your life. And that's not good, man. That's not good, and it's not worth it. So I think while it's okay sometimes for a temporary amount of time to really focus on something, at most times in your life, I think that you need to have a work-life balance. And I tell you what, man, I think a good thing to do is just to keep blue collar hours, Like me personally, I like to do business from like 10 to 4, right? The morning when I get up between 7 and 10 is just like I focus on like my physical body, right? I just will focus on, drinking a protein shake, taking some walks, doing a walk, doing some kind of exercise, doing a little bit of, I've been trying to do a little bit of reading, but basically I try to spend that morning period just focused on myself, getting a shower together, and then at 10 o'clock I start my business stuff, and then I want to wrap up business stuff at 4 o'clock. I like to keep business hours. I like to keep blue collar hours. And that's just me. After 4 o'clock, anything that I do with my business, I know I'm on family time now. This needs to be like time for my family and the people in my life. It's not really time for like business stuff anymore. The only exception to that for me is on Thursdays. I do this coaching call for my weekly mentorship club. And so on Thursdays, that call is at 7:15 p.m. And that's one thing that I do weekly that's not during like business hours, but for the most part I operate within business hours. And the reason why is because I don't want my family to feel like I am always busy. I'm always doing work. They can never bother me because I'm always working. Like, I don't want them to feel like that. And it's been like that in the past, where people have felt like that. And I don't want them to feel like that. I want to be available, and so I keep blue collar hours. And I tell you what, man, this life balance thing, it's very important. And it's not just important like for your family or for whatever. It's also actually, it's not just important for your mental health. It's also actually important for your business, because what I found is that like when I keep blue collar hours and when I force myself to shut it off at a certain time, then what happens is like when I come back to it, I am more like refreshed. I have better ideas, and I can give like a stronger like amount of productivity to the hours that I have, instead of just like not having any rules about when I work. So I'll be working like all day, I'll be working through the night, and I'll just be taking these breaks, an hour here, half hour there. I'll just take these breaks throughout the day, but it's like I'm never truly done. Like I'll be working until the beginning of the day, until like until I lay my head down, like that kind of thing. Like, you think putting all those extra hours, burning it at both ends is a good thing, but really, like, you're not nearly as productive as you would be if you keep like blue collar hours, or if you just keep like a set schedule and you have so much time to get work done, and then you shut it off. And I tell you what, man, I think that's the best way to operate. I really do. I think it is the absolute best way to operate. And I tell you guys what, I speak from experience. I've been doing this for over a decade now, and I've tried it all different manner of ways because I'm pretty ambitious. So I definitely have burned it at both ends before and put in a lot of weird hours. And I can tell you, after all that time, I can tell you, I think the best thing to do is to keep blue collar hours. Again, this is information for people who do this full time and they have a problem with always working, right? The advice would be different for someone who is not taking their business seriously enough. Um, you know, like if you're like, you know, if you spend like an hour a day on your business or something, and like you spend too much time watching Netflix or whatever, doinking around with your friends, then it's got to be something different for you. It's not the same thing. This advice about work-life balance, it's not one size fits all. It's very much depending on where you're at in life and where you're at in your business. So anyways, just a little bit of thoughts about work-life balance for you today. I hope that's helpful. Hope that resonates with you a little bit. I think I feel like I've experienced almost all manner of this work-life balance issue, as far as like being on different ends of the spectrum, you know, when it comes to like, oh, I don't take this project seriously enough, or oh, I'm like in this all-consuming fire and I'm not focused on anything else. Like, I feel like I've experienced all ends of the spectrum on it. So I feel like I'm in this kind of unique position to talk to you about it. And I don't know. I hope this resonates with somebody out there today. I don't know if it does or not, but if it does, glad to be of help. If any of this information resonates with you, be sure to get over to epicconversions.com, sign up for my free newsletter. I put information out 3 to 6 times a week in that newsletter. And I'll see you in the inbox. Peace now.